Well, hi there, friends. Welcome to Along the Road, our weekly check-in as we try to drill down into a different spot or thought from something maybe I couldn't cover during our weekly sermon. And as we've been walking through the Gospel of Matthew, we find ourselves this week in chapter 5, what is the beginning of, is known as the Sermon on the Mount. And we read through the Beatitudes, but we didn't talk about them. That was really an intentional decision to say, hey, we're going to take a 10,000 foot view and think about sort of the big ideas of the Sermon on the Mount, and knowing that my plan was this week to kind of here along the road, check into the Beatitudes and kind of walk through them and give maybe some individual insight. And so I want us to think before we get to those about what they really are. Because I think what Jesus was giving us, what he was presenting, was his new ethic, his new motive, the heart of what a citizen of his kingdom was, right? If he's the Messiah who is coming, and behold, right, the kingdom of God is at hand. And here I think Jesus is beginning to lay out, this is what a true citizen of my kingdom will look like. This is what's going to happen to them on the inside. And it's sort of along the way, what we see him doing is taking these ideas about, that the people of God to this point had become so focused on the externals. And Jesus was saying, you got to think about what's going on the inside of you. And he's really contrasting sort of that external stuff with what was happening on the inside of his followers, what was popular to be pursued. And Jesus is going, no, you're missing it if you don't see that the things on the inside of who you are really so much more valuable. And so let's just begin to walk through them. The first that Jesus lists is, blessed are the poor in spirit. And then he says, theirs is this kingdom, right? To get the kingdom, you need to be poor in spirit, no confidence in yourself and your own achievement, your own successes. And that the consequence of that, when we're poor in spirit, when we don't believe in ourselves in that sort of way, in an ultimate way, but we do believe in him, we get God himself. We get fellowship and acceptance. And blessed are those who mourn. And we've got some folks, even in our midst here at Journey, probably some of you that are watching, that have been in spots of mourning, maybe in the last couple of weeks, last couple of months, last couple of years, right? The mourning process is not a simple one. It's not an easy one. But Jesus says, blessed are those who mourn, because they get comfort. What he doesn't say is that they avoid pain, or that we're never going to have trouble again, or that we aren't ever going to be sad or sorrowful. What he says is we get comforted. We get his presence. Later in one of the other Gospels, he says that comfort comes often in the person of his Spirit, that the third member of the Trinity comes and dwells inside of us and is the thing that brings us peace and comfort. Blessed are the gentle, the meek, because they inherit the earth. There's a humble sort of self-control that allows the follower of Jesus to be someone who can receive from others, who can forgive and be forgiven, who can walk in grace and love. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, because, right, they're filled, they're satisfied. These God seekers, the ones, right, that are pursuing the things of God, they hunger for the things of God. In one of the Psalms, it says that as the deer pants for water, so my soul longs for you. God is the one. He's the only one who can ultimately, right, fill and satisfy. Jesus promises that living water that wells up, right, that never ends, this eternal thing that will satisfy those who long for him. Blessed are the merciful, because they get mercy. Blessed are those who have been forgiven, because they become those who can forgive. I think it's a process as we work our way down through these, right? The greater our understanding, the longer we're at this, the more mature. It's those who come to see their own depths, their own realities of sinfulness that God has forgiven them, become those who can then forgive the people who are around them. Blessed are the pure in heart, those men and women of integrity, purity, They get to see God, this picture that he gives to us of the purity of motive, right? That we become those who only serve. The only ruler that we have in our life, in our soul, in our inmost places is God himself. Blessed are the peacemakers. They are the sons of God. The call is to be someone who is actively is making peace. That's what you're about, right? And it reflects the heart of Jesus. Jesus was someone who was about making peace between God and man. That's why he came. He came pursuing those who were lost, those who were broken. He came to seek and save the lost things. And the peacemakers are those who come to seek and pursue the same sorts of things. They want to restore relationship between God and between those who are lost, right? We become those who are in pursuit of, praying for, inviting, welcoming those who are far from God. And they become those who want to make peace between even human relationships that are broken. They desire to make and seek peace in the midst of those sorts of things. The heart of his follower is to bring that kind of peace. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. Theirs is, again, the kingdom. And as we become these other things, as we work our way down, I think it inevitably is going to lead to conflict with the world, right? With this world system, because the follower of Jesus doesn't fit the mold. Their heart, their attitude, their motive, their everything becomes something different. And ultimately it leads to a rejection sort of and from the world. But that kind of follower gets the kingdom. They get all of this stuff that Jesus offers and promises. And blessed are you when you are reviled, when you are persecuted for his sake. And that reward is in heaven. See, the ultimate goal, the biggest, greatest, perhaps, contrast between the follower, the citizen of the kingdom, and the world, and those who have not been transformed, is that our ultimate hope is in the future. It's in the eternal. It isn't in any of the things that our culture celebrates. It isn't in the things that our heart sort of naturally desire and seek, right? It's as those desires are transformed into these sorts of ways. The citizen of heaven, the follower of Jesus, they get heaven. They get the king who resides in heaven. Friend, I hope that this is an encouragement. I hope that as you hear these things, your heart longs, right? Pursues, desires these sorts of things because this is so much better. May our attitude be transformed this week as we seek to be followers of Jesus. May you, I invite you to just pick one and pray and seek and ask the Lord to reveal to you, how can I, Father, be this? How can I be one who's poor in spirit? How can I be one who hungers and thirsts for righteousness? Where do I need to be someone who is pursuing the making of peace? Where have I, Father, been being persecuted and I'm rejoicing in the fact that I get your kingdom in the midst of this? Father, we desire your best for us. May that be our prayer. Friends, I love you. I'm grateful for you. Thanks for checking in this week. And I hope to see you this Sunday, if I don't see you someplace else along the road.